In the world of home theater, we hear numbers like 9.2, 13.2, 7.2.4, 9.2.6, but what do those numbers mean? In this video, we're going to give you a complete walkthrough on the different setups that you can have in a home theater, and I'll go through each one of those numbers to let you know exactly what they represent. What's up, guys? This is Youthman. If you're new to the channel, thanks so much for stopping by. I produce weekly content, usually about 2 to 3 videos per week on home theater, audio, as well as video. So if you're into that, make sure you subscribe to the channel. So we're going to jump right into it. If you're new to home theater, when you start hearing numbers thrown out like 11.2 or 7.2.4, sometimes that gets a little confusing. So I thought, let's make a video that's just going to lay it out really simple, and so that you can know exactly what those numbers mean, and that'll help better prepare you when you get ready to develop and build out your home theater. So let's go ahead and start off with something really simple. Most home theaters at least have what they call a 5.1 setup, okay? So there's 5.1 speakers. So let's take a look at that. 5.1 just basically means that you've got 5 speakers, and the 0.1 is the subwoofer, okay? So the 5 speakers would be your front 3 speakers, your left, your center channel, and your right, and 2 rear surrounds. From there, you can move up to a 7.1 system, which would add 2 additional speakers for surround. So in my system, I have a 7.1 system. So I have 7 speakers, 3 up front, left, center, right. I have 2 side surrounds, but I also have 2 surround back speakers. Now, some people add height channels or what they call wide channels. So the wide channels would be pretty much in between your front 2 speakers and your side surrounds. And so that would move up to what they call a 9.1 system. So for a 9.1 system, you would have 3 speakers up front, the left channel, center channel, right channel. You would have a front left wide. You would have a front right wide. Then you would have 2 side surround speakers, and then 2 surround back speakers. Now, over the past several years, we've introduced a new number to that equation. So no longer is it just 5.1, 7.1, 9.1, and so forth. We now add another point and another number. So now you'll see numbers like a 5.1.2 or a 7.1.4. So what does that third number mean, and that third decimal? The third number is referring to either height channels or what we refer to a lot of times as Dolby Atmos speakers. So these are speakers that would be placed above your listening area, typically maybe on the ceiling, like in-ceiling speakers, but it also can refer to speakers that are on the ground, but they're aimed toward the ceiling, and that sound is hitting the ceiling and reflecting back to your listening position. These are called Atmos-enabled speakers. And so let's go back to kind of the beginning. So let's take a 5.1 system. So if you wanted to add height speakers, let's say you added 2 height speakers, that would then become a 5.1.2 system. 5 speakers on the ground floor, which would be your left channel, center channel, your right channel. You would have your 2 side surrounds, left side surround, right side surround. You'd have your 0.1, which is your subwoofer channel, and then you would have 2 height speakers or maybe 2 Atmos speakers, or you could even have 2 up-firing speakers. So let's just go with a big number. So what if you had like a 7.2.4 Dolby Atmos system, which is exactly what I have in my theater room. So what does that consist of? The first number 7 would be 7 floor level speakers. Front 3 speakers, left, center, right. 2 side surround speakers, a left and a right. 2 surround back speakers, a left and a right. But then we add 4, in my case, I've got 4 in-ceiling, down-firing Dolby Atmos speakers. Now you may say, Michael, sometimes I see like a 7.2. Okay, technically my system is still a 7.1.4 Dolby Atmos system. And the reason why I say technically is because really right now there's only a single sub channel. There's only a single LFE channel on an AVR, a receiver, or maybe a processor. And so we really refer to that 0.1 as that channel, but honestly it makes more sense just I guess when you're explaining to someone what your system is, when you use, like if you've got more than one subwoofer, to say 0.2, or if you've got 4 subwoofers, to say 0.4. Again, technically it's not correct, but you'll see that common referred to like in the Facebook groups and the forums. People will say, oh, well, I have a 7.2.4, or maybe I've got a 9.4.6, and so that second number, that point whatever, is the number of subwoofers in their system versus really just the amount of channels in the LFE. And we'll talk more about LFE in a future video. And so there's a ton of different ways that you can configure your room, and a lot of that depends on the size of your room. I mean, it wouldn't make much sense for me to add 2 more in-ceiling Dolby Atmos speakers in my room. My room is only 13 feet wide by 19 feet deep, 10-foot ceilings. But one thing you have to realize is my front cabinet is about 4 feet deep. And so out of that 19 feet in length, I've only got 15 feet of actual space on my ceiling to put in-ceiling speakers. And really 15 feet, you don't need more than 4 Atmos in-ceiling speakers. But if you had a really long room, it would, and maybe you had multiple rows of seating. Some guys have room for 3 rows of seating. So to me, with 3 rows of seating, that would be really advantageous to have 6 in-ceiling Dolby Atmos speakers to kind of spread out that sound over all 3 rows in your theater room. So just to quickly recap, the first number is the number of ground level speakers in your setup. Now, granted, in my room, my side surrounds and my rear surrounds aren't really at ear level. Ideally, if you have a Dolby Atmos system, that's where you want to have those positioned. I definitely have some challenges in my room that kind of prevent me from making them lower. If you're interested in that video, I did make one on basically my room has issues, my theater room has issues, and I talk about why I had to place those there and what would I have changed in my room if I had that ability. So if you're interested in that video, I'll link it right up here in the card above. So the bottom, or the first number, would be your floor level speakers. The second number is technically always going to be 0.1. That is the subwoofer channel, or your LFE channel, low frequency effects channel. But like I said, sometimes you'll see people refer to that second number as the amount of subwoofers in their room. So if they have 2 subwoofers, it'd be a 0.2. If they have 3, it'd be 0.3. And so you may see that, like I said, in the audio forums and Facebook groups when people reference their setup and use those numeric values. They may use that second number to represent how many subwoofers they have in their setup. And then that last number is, and then that third number is the amount of either height speakers that you have, or in-ceiling Dolby Atmos speakers, or Oro 3D. There's a lot of different formats, immersive formats, that will kind of utilize those height channel or height speakers. Now, if you head over to the Dolby Atmos website, I'll have a link to it down in the description below. They've got a great section that talks about all of these different room layouts and speaker layouts. And so definitely check that out. You can visually see the different types of setups that you could have in your room. You might want a 5.1.2 setup. You may want to use those Atmos speakers as upfiring because maybe you live in an apartment and you can't cut holes in your ceiling. And so they've got some great diagrams there that'll help you visually see what that would look like in your setup and in your size space. Now, the other benefit about that particular website is if you're setting up for Dolby Atmos, they do show the different angles, okay? So when you're thinking about where do I place my Dolby Atmos in-ceiling speakers, or where should I place my side surrounds, they give you those angles. You know, like for your side surrounds, I believe they're basically 90 degrees to 110 degrees behind you. And so you might have to do some math to kind of calculate those angles to make sure those speakers are in the right place in your room. Well guys, hopefully this video has been helpful. So next time someone says that they've got a 7.2.4 Dolby Atmos setup in your mind, you'll know exactly what they have. They've got 7 floor level speakers, 2 subwoofers, and 4 ceiling speakers, or maybe 4 up-firing Dolby Atmos modules. So I hope you have a great week. God bless, and we'll catch you in the next video.